Hi friends, I'm Emma from Emma's Edition and I am a Seattle fashion and lifestyle content creator, and today I thought it would be helpful if I shared a few tips to help you measure yourself alongside your goals. So it is at the start of the year and you probably have a whole list of New Year's intentions, mantras, and goals that you are working towards this year. And like any creator out there, there's a lot of things that we can be working on and developing our skills as influencers and creators. And so today I wanted to expand on a few ways on how you can measure yourself alongside those goals. And I personally use these tips, so I hope that you find them helpful today. So we're just going to start off. Tip number one, write down your goals and write down why you want to achieve them. So as creators and influencers, you might be writing goals and intentions around diversifying your brand across other platforms like TikTok or Pinterest, or maybe you want to start a completely new platform that you own, like a podcast or a blog. Maybe you're writing down goals and intentions around creating deeper relationships with your audience and getting to know them better and finding new ways to bring value to them because you're really interested in fostering a great relationship with them. Whatever your goals are, take a step back and list out that goal and write down underneath it why you want to reach that goal. What does it mean for you to be able to build a better relationship with your audience? Why do you want to diversify your brand across other platforms? How will that help your branding community further in the future? So I think it's really important to take that step back to really lay out why you want to achieve your goals, because we all know that as the year goes on, there are plenty of challenges that happen. And sometimes when we're feeling stuck and we're feeling like we're not reaching that goal, being able to reflect back and look at our why and our purpose behind those goals will help us bring that clarity and that energy to keep moving forward. Another really big thing I've learned in my creator journey is that when you are focused on your reasons why and you know your reasons why you're doing things, it really helps lessen the resistance around other things, and it gives you a clearer sense of focus and direction. So for example, in 2020, February of 2020, Maddie and I launched the Content Creatives podcast, and a really big goal and intention of mine was to build a deeper relationship with my audience and to understand them better. And with the podcast, first we were just releasing one episode a week because we were trying to figure out how to do a podcast. But as we got better with it, with time, by 2021, so a year in, we decided to up our frequency to 2 podcast episodes where we could do a long form podcast episode where we talk about tips on writing great Instagram captions or lessons that we've learned through TikTok, and then releasing a mini-sode on Thursdays where we have more candid conversations around, different things we don't share on social media, or recapping trips that we took, in the previous year. And so with that, I think over the last 2 years now, we're about to come up on our 2-year anniversary in February 2022. We've really seen a deeper relationship with our audience, and our audience has come to us and they say, hey, we really feel like you know who we are. We feel like we know who you are because we're listening to you twice a week, sometimes 20 minutes, sometimes all the way up to an hour each week, and we're getting to know you little by little, week after week. And so for me, I think having that why, because again, it took us a full year to wrap our heads around producing content for a podcast, writing podcast outlines for that, then managing the Instagram account for that. There's a lot of work involved in it. And when you step into a whole new medium and a whole new space, it can feel really, really intimidating. But having your clear purpose, your clear reason why you're doing something really helps you just get through that grind, especially if you kind of run into moments of frustration where you're like, gosh, what am I even doing? You're able to remind yourself, oh, actually, I took the time to identify, to clarify, this is why I'm working towards this goal, and I'm going to keep this in mind. So tip number 2, you guys, for measuring yourself alongside your goals is to come up with a schedule or come up with a cadence on when you check in with yourself on where you're at on those goals. So if you're just starting out setting goals for the first time for your brand and business, I recommend just checking in either monthly or quarterly. So checking in monthly, maybe you decide that you check in with yourself and where you're at with your goals at the beginning of each month or at the end of each month. Or you might decide that you want to check in with yourself at the end of every quarter. So quarters, so every 3 months is the end of each quarter, and at the end of Q1 you check in with yourself, end of Q2 you check in with yourself, and so on and so on. The reason why I recommend having some sort of consistent schedule where you're checking in with yourself is that's where you start to see that little bit of growth and progression. You might not see anything for the first month, 2 months, or 3 months, but maybe by month 5, you're seeing that you're making those incremental steps towards achieving that goal. So my example again is the Content Creatives podcast, because it's my, now it's not my newest platform since I've launched on YouTube, but with the podcast at least, we started out driving, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 monthly downloads a month. And in 2021, we set it a goal to do 10,000 monthly downloads a month. And so what I was doing personally was I was just kind of checking our numbers on a monthly basis, seeing it grow. And then by summer of 2021, I was like, oh my gosh, like we're at 6,000 or 7,000 downloads. Like I'm really seeing us increase that. And then in November, we launched Creator Money Week. All those episodes are still live, and the purpose of Creator Money Week is to help influencers and creators set themselves up to be paid. And so even though we aren't actively talking about that specific week anymore, you can still find all 5 episodes live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. But after Creator Money Week, we actually hit our goal. And in November specifically, we actually hit 14,000 monthly downloads. And so we surpassed our 10,000 mark. But that didn't happen until month 11 of the year, where we surpassed that goal. And so again, I just recommend finding a check-in schedule of what makes sense for you. And to also remember that this is just to help you see where you're at with your goal, because if you're finding that maybe 6 months in things aren't happening the way you're wanting them to happen, then you have a chance and an opportunity to take a step back and ask yourself, okay, why is this not happening? What can I do to adjust? Which actually leads me to my very third tip, which is allow yourself to reflect back during that schedule where you're checking in with yourself. What's happening? What are you doing? Are you on track? If you're not on track, what do you need to do differently? What lessons have you learned so far? What trends and lessons can you take moving forward? I think it's really important to not just say, oh, okay, am I not hitting my goal? Am I hitting my goal? But let's actually talk through some of these questions, which I am going to include in the description if you want to refer back to this video later and just have, a handful of questions to ask yourself whether or not you need to adjust or stay on track with your goals. I think it's really important to definitely be kind to ourselves and also allow ourselves to shift and change if we need to. My goals in 2020 drastically changed and shifted when the pandemic broke out. One of my goals for my blog was to create Instagram guides. And I have plenty of Instagram guides for each city that I visit. I have Instagrammable places in San Francisco, New Orleans, New York, LA. But in 2020, I was hoping to create more of those. But when the pandemic broke out, I was not traveling. I was not getting on an airplane or anything like that. And that goal completely fell to the wayside. But I didn't harp on myself for not meeting that goal. I mean, the world is still in a global pandemic. But, I had to shift what my goals were for 2020 as a creator, especially since I ended up getting laid off at the end of summer of 2020. And so Sometimes life happens and you have to completely shift your goals, but you can always take that opportunity to take a step back and reflect on what's working, what's not working, and what can you do moving forward for the rest of the year to help make sure that you're successful in meeting your goals. All right, you guys, so those are just a few tips on hopefully helping you measure yourself alongside your goals. Would love to hear what your goals are for 2022. I'm going to be creating and sharing a video of what my MS Edition goals are for 2022. I share my goals typically on my blog every year, but this year I'm doing it on YouTube for the first time, so I'm excited to share my goals with you guys. If we haven't connected on Instagram yet, let's connect at MS Edition and let's connect at the Content Creatives Podcast. We're taking a little break in January, but we are replaying our favorite podcast episodes that we've had so far, and so hopefully you guys enjoy those. And if there are any future topics you want to see here on MS Edition, please let me know. Would love to learn what you want covered next. All right, you guys, see you guys next time.